I'd love to talk more about enterprise sales because, as you've mentioned, AgentSync, is doing super big deals and trying to push into the Fortune 500. Like, can you talk a little bit about how you have made enterprise sales work at AgentSync and sort of what's the secret to a good enterprise sales cycle?
I think it's a confluence of things. I think, in the context of our business in insurance, one of the key discoveries that we made early on was that our product handles complexity really well, in the sense of we basically help insurance companies manage their distribution channels, and those are basically a series of relationships with insurance agents that are in the field selling their products. And our product's built on Salesforce as sort of, we deploy our product on Salesforce, at least one of our products. And it's built very well for the enterprise in terms of handling complex hierarchies and relationships and those sorts of things. And so what we actually identified is as we moved up market and the pain became more and more sharp, we actually found that there was a big value correlation with our product up market that was sort of less correlated down market, in the sense that people were already spending more up market to solve this problem, and were willing to actually spend even more than they already were spending to solve it in a more uniform platform way versus a bunch of point solutions stitched together, if that makes sense. Whereas down market, it was often something where it was we'll take our chances and we're not really spending on this right now. So we kind of identified that early on, and then it was all about, all right, so this opportunity exists. Can we build the capability to go capture that opportunity? And that was a slog, man, and it still is. That's okay. Let's knock down SOC 2. Let's get a pre-sales engineering team stood up so that we can really move from kind of feature selling to value selling. Let's really build a sales process that's dialed in with MedPick, and we kind of think of it as value selling and what are those pillars of value we drive. So we're not, our solution isn't, we're not selling to executives in the sense that executives don't log in and use our product. It's typically 2 or 3 departments below them or levels below them, but we still need to get executive alignment. So how do we attach our value to executive priorities? So it's kind of like an organizational rally that, hey, this makes sense. We want to move up market. And fortunately, we have co-founders here at AgentSync that I think we're ready to jump on that opportunity and move up market, and are incredibly gifted at showing up market. And so all those things together, and I think probably the most important of all that I should have mentioned first, Alex. I know I'm jumping around a bit here because we're doing this as we speak. I've spent most of my day today working on this exact question: is how do you move up market and build an enterprise sales team? But most important of all is the people. Do we have the right team? Do we have the right mix of individuals who can show up on site with customers and sell value and bring customers in? And so we placed a bet pretty early on where our cycle times take sometimes more than a year to close, right? And so we made a pretty intentional bet early on that took some time to pay off, and we're now seeing repeatable success in the enterprise. But there was a moment where we jumped, right? And you jump off the high dive and you're just oh goodness, I'm floating. And there was a bit of that, for a couple quarters of we're grinding out mid-stage opportunities. Are these going to close? Are we going to get these in? We had no basis for yes, we would historically, but the things that we believe to be true were happening and sort of eventually paid off. So, we're learning every day. I think that I think the thing I would say to anybody who's thinking about it is it's an investment. It's a big investment that you have to make over a pretty long period of time to do it well and do it repeatably. And the problem is if you half-ass that investment and you win business, you'll get stuck in an environment. You could get stuck in an environment with a really expensive customer problem where you've got a needy customer that has a set of expectations you don't have the capability to meet, and it can create a huge drain on your organization. And so I would just say for anybody who's thinking about going up market, make sure that as an organization, you're aligned around what that means, not just for sales, but as an entire company.
Yeah, I love that. It is such a company-wide investment, from the sales team to the implementation team to the product team. And as you said, the worst thing you can do is close $1 million contract or whatever it is. And then that turns later because they didn't like the product or they didn't do the implementation. Yeah. Enterprise gets so scary because it's so lumpy, the revenue. And so you just are looking at the forecast, you're just hoping that a few of these deals, 1 or 2 deals is make sure breaks your year or your quarter or whatever it is. But
you describe the last thought I have before I go to bed pretty much every night of the week.